I was scrolling through my feed this morning, and I swear, every third post is promising to, fix my entire life with a button.
Hmm.
It's click here to have an AI write your emails, or click here to have an agent manage your schedule,
Yeah.
have a co-pilot do your thinking for you.
The era of the magic button.
Yeah.
We are definitely living in it.
Exactly. And I'm not immune to it. I want the magic button. I mean, who doesn't? I want the drudgery to just evaporate.
Right.
But then I close the app, go into actual work meetings, and talk to people running real businesses. And the vibe is, well, it's different. It's not magic.
It's frustration.
It's a lot of frustration and expensive confusion.
You're picking up on a massive disconnect. There's the marketing version of AI, which is seamless and instant, and then there's the oppositional reality, which is messy, complicated, and, yeah, often surprisingly disappointing.
Right. For every viral video of a chatbot writing a sonnet, there are 5 companies realizing they just spent a fortune on software that either hallucinates or just breaks their workflow.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what we are digging into today. Why do so many of these automation projects just hit a wall?
And to answer that, we're looking at a really compelling analysis by Johan Steyn. He's a thought leader in the AI space, and he recently broke down a concept he calls Musk's algorithm.
Now, hold on. Before half our audience rolls their eyes and the other half cheers, we need to set the ground rules here.
Okay.
This isn't a deep dive into Elon Musk, the celebrity, or the tweeter, or the political figure.
Not at all, no. We are strictly looking at an operational philosophy.
Hmm.
This comes from Walter Isaacson's biography of Musk, where he details this specific 5-step process for engineering and automation.
And Steyn argues that this process, this algorithm, it exposes the exact reason why most AI projects fail.
He does. And the reason isn't, the tech isn't good enough.
That's not the model's fault.
No. The tech is usually fine. The problem is that most organizations fail at process discipline.
Process discipline. You have a real talent for taking a sexy topic like artificial intelligence and making it sound like eating Brussels sprouts.
It's not the most exciting phrase, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But it is the difference between success and disaster. Steyn's core thesis here is uncomfortable but essential. Automation must be the last step of the process, not the first.
The last step. Wow. That goes against basically every single sales pitch I have heard this year.
I know.
They always start with, buy our AI, then figure out what to do with it.
Precisely. And that AI-first mentality is exactly what leads to what Steyn calls mechanized dysfunction.
Ooh, mechanized dysfunction. That sounds like a heavy metal band.
It does.
But in a business context, that sounds terrifying.
It should be. Steyn starts his analysis by looking at the current landscape. He notes that automation has been rebranded as intelligence. We used to call them scripts or macros. Now we call them agents.
Right.
But if you look at the sentiment from the World Economic Forum in Davos, the mood isn't joy. It's anxiety.
Anxiety because they're missing out.
No, anxiety because they are trying to scale it and it's just not working. Leaders are realizing that just plugging a large language model into a chaotic business doesn't magically fix the business.
This brings us to my favorite analogy from the reading, the broom.
AI is not a broom.
Which is disappointing because I have a lot of digital dust bunnies I'd like to sweep away.
We all do. But think about what a broom does.
Right.
It just hides the mess, right? It gathers it up and puts it in a bin or, shoves it under a rug.
Right.
Steyn argues AI is an amplifier. If your current process is fragmented, ambiguous, full of weird exceptions and unwritten rules, and you add AI to that...
You just get a faster, louder mess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are amplifying the chaos. If you have a bad process and you automate it, you don't get efficiency. You just make your mistakes at the speed of light.
That's the mechanized dysfunction.
Right. And this isn't just theory. Steyn cites a warning from Tech Radar that suggests more than half of AI projects could fail by 2026.
More than half. That's a coin toss.
It is.
Imagine telling your board, give us $10 million. We have a 50-50 shot of this doing absolutely nothing.
It's staggering. And the failure usually isn't because the model wasn't smart enough. It's governance. It's data issues. It's the fact that nobody actually knows how the work gets done in the first place.
Wow.
Even the CEOs of major AI companies, leaders from Databricks and Glean, they're starting to say the quiet part out loud now.
What are they saying?
That deployment requires engineering and evaluation, not just a credit card.
So, okay, we've established using AI as a broom is a trap. We can't just sprinkle magic dust on a broken workflow. So what's the alternative? This is where we get into the actual algorithm.
Correct. The 5 steps. And I need to stress this, the sequence is everything. You cannot skip to step 5. You have to earn it.
Okay, let's walk through it. Step one.
Step 1, question every requirement.
Question every requirement. In a startup, that's easy. In a Fortune 500 company, that sounds like a good way to annoy a lot of powerful people.
It is absolutely rebellious. But it's necessary because, as Steyn points out, in large organizations, requirements multiply like mold.
That is such a gross, vivid image. Requirements mold.
It's accurate, though, isn't it? I mean, think about how corporate processes evolve. You have a workflow. Then, 3 years ago, there was a minor data leak, so legal added a form. Then, marketing wanted to approve the tone.
Then some manager who quit 2 years ago wanted a weekly report.
And nobody ever removes them. They just layer on top of each other, become sediment. And Steyn says, if you automate an unexamined requirement, you institutionalize it.
You bake it into the code.
And code is much harder to change than a memo. Once the AI is trained to do that useless report, that report is going to exist forever.
Okay, so you have to ask where the rule came from.
Yes, and here's the kicker. The requirement must come from a person, not a department.
Wait, what does that mean?
You can't say legal requires this. You have to say Sarah in legal requires this.
Because you can argue with Sarah. You can't argue with the department.
Exactly. Departments are abstract. People can change their minds. You have to find the human source and ask, is this actually still true?
Okay, so we're playing detective. We've questioned the requirements. We've scraped off the mold. What is step 2?
Step 2 is the painful one. Step 2 is delete.
Just delete it.
Delete any part of the process you can. Steyn argues this is the hardest step because it's not technical, it's emotional. Deleting things feels dangerous.
Well, yeah, if I delete a safety check or I stop doing a task that we've done for 10 years, I feel exposed, I'm risking my job. If something goes wrong, it's why did you delete that?
Of course, that's the fear mechanism at work. We hoard tasks to feel safe. But Steyn is adamant. You cannot automate your way out of a process that shouldn't exist. If a step adds no value, making it faster with AI is actually a waste of money. It's scaling inefficiency.
But isn't there a real risk? I mean, Musk is famous for moving fast and breaking things, but if I'm in healthcare or finance, delete just sounds like lawsuit.
That's a valid pushback. You don't want to be reckless. But the algorithm actually accounts for this with a really interesting rule of thumb. The philosophy is, if you aren't forced to add at least 10% of the steps back in later, you didn't delete enough.
Oh, wow. So the goal is actually to cut too deep.
In a sense, yes. The idea is that we are so bloated with process that you have to cut until you hit the bone and then realize, oops, we actually did need that one specific safety check, and you add it back.
That is bold. It assumes the status quo is so inefficient that overcutting is the only way to find the truth.
Exactly. Most companies never delete anything because they are terrified of that 10% risk, so they keep 100% of the bloat.
We are automating our own insecurities.
Beautifully put.
Yeah.
So, only after you have questioned and deleted do you move to step 3.
Which is?
Simplify and optimize.
Okay, this feels a bit more like traditional management consulting. Clean up the flow.
It is, but the context here is key. AI tools, really any software, crave standard inputs. They hate nuance. Steyn gives the example. Imagine you have 5 different departments handling customer returns.
And knowing corporate life, Department A uses a shared Google Sheet, Department B uses email chains, and Department C uses sticky notes and vibes.
Exactly, a total patchwork. Now, if you try to automate that as is, you end up with a mess of exceptions. It's fragile. Step 3 says, no. Force everyone to do it the same way.
So you have to standardize the human behavior before you introduce the robot behavior.
Correct. You have to create a predictable pattern. AI is a pattern matching machine. It cannot match a pattern if the pattern changes every time Bob goes on vacation.
Okay, so we've questioned, we've deleted the junk, we've simplified what's left into a straight line. I'm exhausted, and we haven't even touched the AI yet. Can we automate now?
Not yet. Step 4.
You're killing me.
Step 4 is accelerate cycle time.
Speed it up. Manually.
Yes. This is a subtle but brilliant point that almost everyone skips. If you speed up a process before you simplified it, you just produce errors faster.
Okay, but if I've simplified it in step 3, why can't I just let the AI provide the speed?
Because you don't know where the bottlenecks really are yet. Steyn explains that this step is a stress test. You want to push the manual process to its limit, make the humans go faster to see what breaks.
Ah, I see. You're trying to flesh out the hidden friction.
Exactly. It's like revving the engine while the car's in neutral. You want to hear if there's a rattle before you get on the highway? If you skip this and go straight to AI, the errors get hidden behind dashboards and automated logs.
Right. You might not see why it's breaking because it's all happening too fast to track.
You've got it. By accelerating manually, you force the friction to the surface while humans are still driving and can say, hey, this handoff isn't working.
Okay. Okay. We have questioned the requirements. We've deleted the unnecessary. We have simplified the workflow. We have stress tested it for speed. Are we there?
We're there. Step 5, automate.
Finally. The reward.
And that is exactly how Steyn frames it. Automation is not the strategy. Automation is the reward for the discipline you showed in steps 1 through 4.
That is a massive shift in mindset. I think most boards and CEOs view automation as the strategy. Our strategy is to use AI to reduce costs.
And that is why they fail. Steyn points to Musk's own massive failure with the Tesla Model 3 to illustrate this. Do you remember production hell?
Vaguely. Musk was sleeping on the factory floor, right?
Right, because he had tried to skip the steps. He tried to build what he called the alien dreadnought, a factory where robots did absolutely everything. He tried to automate steps that hadn't been simplified or questioned.
And what happened?
It was a disaster. The robots were terrible at things humans find easy, like grabbing a fluffy piece of insulation and stuffing it into a hole. The robot would miss or tear it, and the whole line would stop.
So he had $1 billion of robots stopping production because of some fluff.
Exactly. He admitted it was a big mistake. He had to rip the robots out and put humans back in. He learned the hard way. Automate last. Wow. Steyn says at this final stage, you should be automating the smallest, cleanest, most stable version of the work.
I like that. The smallest, cleanest version.
And he advises on what to automate too. Don't start with the high-stakes, complex judgment calls. Start with the boring, stable bits, summaries, routing, data extraction.
The stuff where if it goes wrong, nobody dies and the company doesn't implode.
Exactly. Earn trust by automating the low-risk friction first.
This is all incredibly compelling theory, but I want to land this for the person listening who has to go to work tomorrow. If I'm a middle manager, I can't just walk in and scream, delete everything.
No, you'd get fired.
Right. So how do we actually operationalize this without causing a mutiny?
Steyn suggests a very practical mechanism called the automation gate.
An automation gate. I like the sound of that. How does it work?
Think of it as a checkpoint for your budget. Before you authorize any spending on AI, before you let a team start a pilot, you demand to see their homework.
What's on the test?
You ask for a process map. You ask for a list of steps they have deleted. Specifically, what did you remove? You ask for a simplified target workflow. And you ask for a clear owner.
So if they come to you with a messy diagram full of arrows pointing everywhere and say, the AI will figure it out, you just say no.
You say, you're not ready. There's a mantra Steyn uses. If you can't describe the work cleanly, you're not ready to automate it.
That should be printed on the wall of every IT department. If you can't describe it, you can't automate it.
It really should. And this applies to buying software too. Steyn has a section specifically for procurement teams. He says, stop buying flashy demos.
But the demos are so cool. I've seen the ones where the AI creates a website from a napkin drawing in 10 seconds.
They are cool. But your job is risk management. You need to buy outcomes with evidence. The market is shifting towards what's being called serious AI. This isn't the chatbot that writes limericks. This is governed, boring workflow automation.
Serious AI. It sounds a bit dull, but I guess dull is what actually makes money in the long run.
Dull scales. Fun breaks. And Steyn adds a really interesting geographic context here, specifically mentioning South Africa, which is where he is based.
Yeah, I saw that note. It felt a bit specific. Does this only apply to developing economies?
No, but the stakes are clearer there. He argues that developing economies cannot afford extensive theater.
Expensive theater. That is a biting phrase.
It means buying tech just to look modern. In places where resources are tight, whether that's a country like South Africa or just a startup with limited runway, you need productivity gains that actually translate into service delivery. You can't just burn cash on a pilot that goes nowhere.
That makes total sense. Scarcity forces discipline.
Precisely. And there's one more practical implication Steyn mentions that I think is vital. He talks about the safety valve.
What's the safety valve in this context?
It's about the risk of automating judgment. In a lot of our work, the process isn't just moving data from A to B. It involves intuition. It involves noticing when something feels off.
Right. The stuff that isn't in the handbook. The gut feeling that a transaction looks fraudulent or a client email sounds angry even if the words are polite.
Exactly. If you automate too early, skipping the simplification step, you tend to remove those safety valves. You remove the human who says, wait, this doesn't look right.
So automate last is also a safety feature. It ensures you know exactly where the human needs to stay in the loop.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You don't automate judgment until you have defined accountability. If the AI makes a mistake, who is responsible? If you can't answer that, don't automate it.
This has been such a refreshing take. I feel like we spend 90% of our time talking about the models, which one is faster, which
Yeah.
one has a larger context window.
Which one is winning the benchmark wars?
Yeah. And so little time talking about the actual work we were trying to do.
The model is just the engine. The work is the car. And if the car has square wheels, putting a Ferrari engine in it won't help you win the race.
It'll just shake the car to pieces faster.
Exactly.
So if we boil this all down, what is the big takeaway for the listener?
The synthesis is this. Automate last isn't anti-technology. It is pro-results.
It's not about being a Luddite or resisting change.
Not at all. It's about recognizing that AI is an amplifier. You put it on top of dysfunction, you mechanize the dysfunction. You make your problems faster and harder to kill.
And nobody wants zombie problems.
The winners in this AI era, whether that's a massive corporation or just you trying to organize your own life, won't be the ones who automate first. It will be the ones who make their work worth automating.
That is a powerful thought. Don't just automate the mess. Clean the mess, then give it superpowers.
Exactly.
So here is the challenge for you listening right now. We talked about step 2 being the hardest step, the delete step. I want you to look at your own workflow today. Not your company's, just yours.
Dangerous territory.
If you applied this algorithm right now, what is the one thing you would delete entirely rather than trying to use AI to do it faster?
That is the question.
Think about it. And maybe, just maybe, drag that item to the trash bin before you look for a co-pilot to manage it.
Save yourself the subscription fee.
Thanks for diving deep with us today. We'll catch you on the next one.